What's going on, people? This is your boy Say One's History. You are watching The Male's Perspective. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you can be updated for all cool new content. We are going to be getting into this topic, man, that I've been hearing popping up on all kind of different social media platforms. And men in particular, I think, are going to find this one really interesting because a lot of times, man, we've actually been told that, there is no war, so to speak, on masculinity. Like, there's no boogeyman that's out to get you. Like, there's no agenda being pushed on, men to be more feminine, to actually, being a simp, you guys, is what I'm really trying to say. So we're going to get on that. I thought it was interesting to have it come from one of I think probably the first biggest social media conglomerate icon, Mark Zuckerberg. And he's completely like left leaning. So this would be something that I wouldn't think would actually come from his mouth. I really wouldn't think that this would actually, something that he would say. So that's why I really wanted to speak on it here. And then also, too, we're going to be talking about, let me just bring it up a little bit here so I can show you guys the different averages that are actually coming out. I know a lot of people like to quote a lot of these percentages and these statistics that come out of about black men stat family households, things like that. So I want to go into that topic here too. But also, man, I want to thank my mom. She actually came through. I don't know if you guys know. It's my birthday today. So I wanted to thank my mom for coming out. She left some really cool stuff. And just, take a little moment to do a little birthday gift. All right, let's cut that. But yeah, she took time to actually come over, and I wish I would have actually put these pictures up. You know what? Actually, I do actually have a few of the pictures on my phone, and I believe I can show you guys. So she came over, and she had the walk. She bought me a camera for my car too, and then she also got the cupcakes. And y'all may not know, but I like getting things and stuff like that. But when I see people really put in their time and their effort and things like that, and something that they do, she didn't have to make this, you guys, but she did. And look at the detail in that. I don't know if you can see that, but that is me and my wife's wedding pictures. Yeah, my cheese and stuff. But yeah, me and my wife's wedding pictures on there, and I thought that was like super cool. So thank you, Mom. I really do appreciate that. I love you. I'll talk to you later, and I'm sure Mario is gonna love those too. But anyway, let's get back into the topic at hand here that we're going to be talking about, and that's this Mark Zuckerberg. And I want to go ahead and bring this video up. This is actually coming from Chisha Jed from the Coffee Pot, and I want you to check this out and let me know what you think about this here. And also, a lot of people are saying, I know people are going to say this, so I want to point this out now. A lot of people are actually talking about, hey, he's doing this because he knows Trump's going to be in office soon, and when Trump gets in, he's going to shut the whole meta down, and all this stuff. So I'm hearing this, and I'm like, okay, this could be true. This could absolutely be true. But I think, again, two things can be right or true at the same time. And he himself personally could have been feeling like he was being attacked by the government. And you'll see what I'm talking about once we get into this video. And he could have just, tried to go along to get along. But now that Trump is in office, he's going a different route. So I don't know. I'm going to stop talking. You guys check it out. Let me know what you think here, okay? Let's get into it.
The Joe Rogan Experience featuring Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody's talking about this guest appearance. In this video, the one thing that shocked me, there were a lot of things spoken about, but the one thing that shocked me was hearing Mark Zuckerberg actually acknowledge that there is a war on masculinity. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know how to feel about that. I know how I really thought about hearing that come out of his mouth. And we'll talk about why that there in a little bit. Let's listen to a little bit of this and we'll talk.
Companies that can unlock all the value from having great people, no matter what their background or gender. But I think these things can always go a little far. And I think it's one thing to say we want to be kind of like welcoming and make a good environment for everyone. And I think it's another to basically say that masculinity is bad. And I just think we kind of swung culturally to that part of the kind of the spectrum where it's all like, okay, masculinity is toxic. We have to like get rid of it completely. It's like, no, like it's both of these things are good, right? It's like you want like feminine energy, you want masculine energy. Like I think that's like you're gonna have parts of society that have more of one or the other. I think that's all good, but I do think the corporate culture sort of had swung towards being this somewhat more neutered thing.
Hearing him say that.
Now, I got to stop that. And it's funny that me and Tisha stopped at the same section. But yeah, let's just go with him. Hearing him say that is crazy. It's one thing for somebody like me to say it, or somebody coming from this red pill perspective, or, just hearing it from, a red-blooded American man saying something like that. That's one thing. But to hear it coming from one of the most powerful people in the world, not only one of the most powerfulest people, you guys, hear me when I'm saying this, because I want you to really feel where I'm coming from. Not actually coming from just one of the most powerfulest people, but perhaps one of the most left-leaning people that just so happen to control the metaverse. Everything that we use on a daily basis as far as when it comes to like Facebook. Like, I don't think people have went a day in their life without viewing Facebook, responding to Facebook messages. It is just a way of our life. And for him to have that much power and to go on a Joe Rogan podcast and say, yes, there is a war on masculinity. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's out to get you, but it could just be a trending topic. It could be just a cultural thing. It could be a situation where somebody is actually trying to steer it in a certain direction for profit, or it could be literally an agenda. Pick whichever one you want. But at the end of the day, there is still a push to weaken masculinity. Now, for whatever that reason it may be, we don't know. But we know that there is a push to actually get rid of masculinity altogether. And it's affecting, let's not, I think anytime you push on something, you're always going to get pushback. And I think that's what you're seeing when it comes to all these different podcasts popping up. You're seeing a lot of men actually speaking up now. And I know just men in general, we normally don't speak on different things like this, but I know it's just popping up more and more. So I'm going to let them keep talking. Let's get back to it and we'll catch up, you guys.
To me, bro, it's just so nuts. No pun intended. But you're listening to Mark talk about how there's a war on masculinity. And and this male generation that's neutered. And you're wondering, what's the motivation for this? There are a lot of people who think they know the motivation for this. We can jump to the comments here and really see what people have to say in response to his statement. This person says, a wolf in sheep's clothing. He would never backtrack on the censorship if Kamala Harris won. And somebody else here says, damn, trying his best to
And it's true. You know, you have to ask yourself questions like that. You know, would this be something that he would actually be talking about if Kamala Harris had won? Because we know what Trump's about. Trump is, you know, give it to him raw. I mean, no type of filtering whatsoever. He is going to give it to you raw. You know, if you like it, if you don't like it, it is what it is with him. Now, we have to ask ourselves, would he have been doing this if Kamala Harris had won the election? You know, I don't know. That's for you guys to decide. But let's keep going.
Out of jail. And so there are a lot of people who look at him and his statements releasing content on a platform are ridiculous. You may know if you tried to comment on a video ship and the content that they flag, the things you're not allowed to talk about, are ridiculous. You may know if you tried to comment on a video and have somehow been blocked or have been told that you may be posted.
You guys, just so you know, he's actually speaking in regards to going on to particularly Facebook and being blocked or banned for actually speaking truth or saying something that's genuine, but they block you for hate speech or whatever the case may be. But let's let him continue.
Hate speech. And what Mark Zuckerberg has recently said is that he's pulling back on censorship. Now, is this just a coincidence that this is happening at the same time that there's a new administration coming in to power, that he's acknowledging that there's this war on masculinity? I mean, can you really fake jiu-jitsu? Because you see him getting into fighting, and you see the rebrand of him switching up his personal brand, which has had a pretty profound aspect of how people view him. But there's still a lot of people who are just not buying it. I'm really interested to see how things progress going forward. There are plenty of people who not too long ago would have thought you are a bitter, lost person as a male, right? That you're just speaking nonsense if you got online and said there's a war on masculinity. You're put into a crazy category. But now there are more people acknowledging that. And when you think of who's been censoring men at an absurd level, social media platforms definitely fall into that category. Meta, which is ran by Mark Zuckerberg, being one of the four most leading platforms that has had the most strict censorship. Let's keep listening a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I didn't really feel that until I got involved in martial arts, which I think is still a much more masculine culture. And so, and not that it doesn't try to be inclusive in its own way, but I think that there's just a lot more of that energy there. And I just kind of realized
that. I just want to say, to speak to what he was actually just talking about, how Chisa said was talking about just posting different things on particularly Facebook and being blocked. It would seemingly seem for no reason. I've experienced that. I remember when I was really heavy into doing my UFO podcast that I actually had. Still have. Go check it out. Called The Awaken Show. Actually, I'm wearing the sweater right here, The Awaken Show. But my boy, at the time, still close, we always used to post these different things about the congressional hearings that they were having, specifically on the UFO. This was literally coming from the government, whistleblowers that were in the government, and we would post this up on Facebook, and it would always have these little things at the bottom saying like UFOs are not real and whatever the case may be, and it's all. And I'm thinking to myself, this is coming from the U.S. government. These are congressional hearings that they're having on these different objects that are out there that they're seeing. And it was just weird to me that we were literally having this, watching this stuff that was coming out from the national media, from the government, and they were still telling us, no, it's not real. And shouts out to Michael Beavers out there, man. This is my partner in crime when it actually came to the UFO stuff. We was really doing this, and we would get this all the time. But yeah, I just want to speak on that, and let's continue. Let's keep going.
It's like, oh, this is
that's
like
how you become successful at martial arts. You have to be at least somewhat aggressive.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, there are these things. There are like a few of these things throughout your life where you have an experience and you're like, where has this been my whole life? And it just like
Yeah.
it just turned on like a part of my brain that I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like this was a piece of the puzzle that should have been there, and I'm glad it now is.
That I felt that way when I started hunting.
Oh yeah, hunting too.
Yeah. Same kind of thing. You've done a lot of that as well.
Yeah, well, so I mean, we
Hunting, jujitsu, masculinity is being attacked. You can't help but to wonder, is this all just kind of like just like a PR move, right before Trump gets in to be on his good side? And like I said, you guys, I believe that two things can be true at the same time. I believe that I believe he believes in what he's saying. But also, I really do think that he's trying to get ahead of the situation, too, before Trump gets in. So I think he, for example, was always afraid to say what he wanted to say and do what he wanted to do because he wanted to make sure that that money kept on flowing in from all those government subsidies and things like that. And then also, on top of that, too, I believe that, these are things that he genuinely likes, like jujitsu and, potentially hunting or something like that. I don't know about that one. But masculinity, I truly believe he believes that. And we all know when we go into work, there's a face that we have to put on. And then when we leave work, there's, you're yourself, your regular self. I'm not saying that it's too off, it's too different, but we all know we have to put on our PR face. It is what it is. So with that being said, let's actually review a little bit of this video. But after we're done with this, I want to show you an actual, you guys, it looks like a straight up PR campaign, at least in my opinion, that came from Mark Zuckerberg. And I just happened to be on Facebook after I heard this from Chisha Said's podcast and saw this clip I'm going to show you later on, right after I said I'm going to review this video about, Chisha Said and all this stuff. So it's just crazy. I think the algorithm on Facebook, I think they listening in sometimes, you guys, but let's get it. Let's keep going.
this ranch out in Kauai, and there's invasive pigs, and we on our ranch.
So I'm not going to make you guys sit down and listen to all this, but he goes into a little bit about him hunting. He talks about all these different hobbies where it seems like Mark Zuckerberg is really trying to solidify that, hey guys, I'm not this neutered, feminine man. I am embracing my masculinity as well. And you see the Dana White hire onto, I think, like the board of Facebook. I forgot what he hired him as, but
whoa.
Is it believable?
I didn't know that. I did not. He said he hired Dana White. Hold on, you guys. I gotta stop this, and I gotta look this up. Hold on, this sounds crazy to me. Hold on. That sounds ridiculous. Did he really hire Dana White? Let me see if this is true. Let me just try to bring this up. Did Mark Zuckerberg hire Dana White? Uh, yeah, this is okay. So I'm reading this, you guys. This is absolutely a PR move on his part. Absolutely. More so than I even thought before. This is absolutely a PR move on Mark Zuckerberg's part. But anyway, let's get into it. I want you to see what I'm reading here. So it says why Mark Zuckerberg turned to Dana White to secure MAGA's favor. That's horrible. Now, this is actually coming from The Guardian, you guys. I know there are people out there that, if it comes from like a certain news platform or whatever the case may be, they'll go, I don't want to listen to that. Oh, that's CNN. That's what's the other one? That's coming from Fox. But I think as a logical person, knowing that there are favoritisms that are actually being played as far as politics are concerned, I think it's in the best interest of the person that's listening to this media to actually listen to both. Don't close your ears to one side or another. I think you should listen to both. If you listen to both, you'll actually get the attributes of everybody's perspective, and it puts you in a more informed position. So I think as a person that wants to be willfully informed, you should listen to both sides, and you should actually make your own decision. Don't Anyway, I'm not getting into that. But let's continue. It says Zuckerberg's appointment of the UFC's Supremo to Meta's board appears to be a calculated move to solidify ties with Trump through one of his most influential allies. Of course, yes, Dana White is one of his most influential allies. It goes on to say, in the 4 months since Donald Trump accused Mark Zuckerberg of conspiring against him during the 2020 presidential election, and then it says threatened him with life imprisonment. It says the Meta CEO has gone to great lengths to curry favor with the incoming president. Shortly after Trump's victory in November, Zuckerberg traveled to Mar-a-Lago to dine with the president-elect and his transition team, even donating $1 million to inauguration fund. He had also culled Meta's third-party fact-checking program, lifting restrictions on the topics with immigration and gender. Wow. I got to read that back again. Lifting restrictions on topics like immigration and gender. Look, is this kissing the ring, you guys? I think there's a little bit of kiss in the ring. Just a little bit of kiss in the ring on this one. Okay. Immigration and gender. It goes, in this week, Zuckerberg took his efforts to align with the incoming administration a step further by appointing Dana White, the CEO of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, and a close Trump ally, to Meta's board of directors. Dana White, the brashest, most F-bombing, slinging person, is going to be the CEO. Hold on. What did it say Dana White is going to be? Hold on. Meta's third-party lifting restrictions. Okay, Mark Zuckerberg, furthermore, CEO Dana White, the CEO of Ultimate Fighting Championship, Meta's board. I've never been interested in joining the board of directors until I got the offer from. Okay, this is Dana White is going to be a part of the board of directors for Meta, which in turn is for Facebook. Y'all, can you imagine how much Facebook is going to change if Dana White has just a sliver of influence on how and what you can put out on Facebook is going to be allowed? That's going to be crazy. Just think of the UFC and then think of the UFC all the time on Facebook. Like, that's what you would basically get messing with Dana White. But I'm going to keep reading. It says, um, I've never been interested in joining a board of directors until I got the offer to join Meta's board. He goes, I am a huge believer that social media and AI are the future. White said in Meta's official press release, I am very excited to join this incredible team and to learn more about the business from the inside. There is nothing I love more than building brands, and I look forward to helping take Meta to the next level. In the press release, Zuckerberg noted how White, along with fellow new board members John Elkin and Charlie Sunkhurst, would help Meta tackle the massive opportunities ahead with AI, wearables, and the future of human connection. However, given that White, a fight promoter and seasoned hype man, has little experience in any of these areas, his appointment appears to be a calculated move by Zuckerberg to solidify ties with Trump through one of his closest and most influential allies. White's friendship with Trump dates back to 2001 when the UFC president was still trying to convince the world that MMA was more than a blood sport. As the UFC was struggling to find a home for its events, Trump took a chance and offered up his Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City for 2 consecutive events. White has since credited Trump from helping the UFC during a difficult period in its history. And though the story is mere marketing lore, it helped establish a compelling narrative for the growing alliance between the two men and their respective brands. White has stomped for Trump at 3 Republican national conventions and a slew of campaign rallies. He traveled with the president-elect on Air Force One and produced a UFC documentary on Trump entitled Combatant in Chief. I'd never seen that one. I've never even heard of that. White even spoke at Trump's victory speech following the 2024 election. This is what happened when the machine comes after you. White said at the time, "This is karma. Ladies and gentlemen, he deserves this." Okay, I don't know all about that. I'm not going to go into it too much more. I want to get into this. Kind of like theme that I saw Mark Zuckerberg talking about, and then we're going to move along. We're going to actually move to the next topic here, but before we do, like I said, I want to bring this up here because it just kind of adds fuel to what everybody is saying. This is a tactical move by Mark Zuckerberg. He's actually trying to get in close with Trump. He's not trying to see any jail time. I don't think it's a situation where he's going to see any jail time, you guys. I don't think that at all. But I do believe that, it's one of those situations where he's trying to get in good to make sure his company is good. So with that being said, let's get into it. Check this one out. Let me know what you think.
I want to talk about something important today because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. I started building social media to give people a voice. I gave a speech at Georgetown 5 years ago about the importance of protecting free expression, and I still believe this today. But a lot has happened over the last several years. There's been widespread debate about potential harms from online content. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly. So we built a lot of complex systems to moderate content. But the problem with complex systems is they make mistakes.
So, yo, I got to cut this off really quick. So, look at even the look of Mark Zuckerberg. Don't he? I mean, what you usually see him in like the white shirt. You know, he got a chain on now. He looking like a little bit more fit. You know, kind of look a little thuggish, don't he? It's a little weird. Let's go ahead. I just want to bring up another picture of Mark Zuckerberg. Let's go to the good old Googles and let's see what we can find here. Let's just type in Mark Zuckerberg photos. And let's see what we can find here. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is completely different. Completely different. So this is with him now. I think that's more of a recent picture. But look at all these other ones. Like, look at that. Looks crazy. And then look at him now. He did a 360. He did a 360, you guys. So yeah, let's continue. Let's let him keep cooking.
Just 1% of posts, that's millions of people. And we've reached a point where it's just too many mistakes and too much censorship. The recent elections also feel like a cultural tipping point towards once again prioritizing speech. So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. After Trump first got elected in 2016, the legacy media wrote nonstop about how misinformation was a threat to democracy. We tried in good faith to address those concerns without becoming the arbiters of truth. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. So over the next couple of months, we're going to phase in a more comprehensive community notes system. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platform.
Because of you made it go too far, but let's keep going.
Third, we're changing how we enforce our policies to reduce the mistakes that account for the vast majority of censorship on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now, we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. The problem is that the filters make mistakes, and they take down a lot of content that they shouldn't. So by dialing them back, we're going to dramatically reduce.
Okay, so I got to speak to this really quick, you guys. He said that he had filters on there that were actually making mistakes that they shouldn't have, okay? And, I mean, let's keep it real. Is he actually being pressured by the government? Yes, he was actually saying it on Joe Rogan's show. If you don't believe me, go look it up. He literally was saying that Biden's presidency was pushing like hell for what he could and couldn't post up on Facebook. And it was just causing so many issues for him. So, yeah, it's crazy. So that was an issue. Okay. So like I said, again, I said this before, I'll say it again. I think two things can be true at one time. I think it was a situation where he was really just trying to make good with the current presidency president that was in office at that time, which was Joe Biden. And he's doing it again, you guys. I mean, literally, we can see a clear pattern of how he's doing this stuff, a clear pattern, of what he does. What is it? A Democrat gets in office, he leans more to the left, and he starts doing a whole bunch of censorship. A Republican gets into office, he starts leaning more to the right. All of a sudden, he likes hunting. All of a sudden, he likes jujitsu. He's getting more and more into these things. His social image is changing like a chameleon. And, this is honestly a good businessman. I mean, what he's doing is he's making the necessary moves so that he can align and keep his business afloat. This is not a man that's thinking from he may be thinking from a personal, economical view. Yeah, he would be thinking from an economical view. But he's also thinking about the thousands, probably millions of people that he employs as well too. And you want to be on the good side of the government, whoever it is. So I understand, but at the same time, you got to stand your ground at some point. If you don't stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. So let's let him keep talking. I'm sorry, you guys.
The amount of censorship on our platforms. We're also going to tune our content filters to require much higher confidence before taking down content. The reality is that this is a trade-off. It means we're going to catch less bad stuff, but we'll also reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down.
He said this is a trade-off, and I totally agree with that verbiage that he used. Because I don't know if you guys have had the chance, but if you went over to X, formerly known as Twitter, that is a crap show up over there. I mean, when I say crap show, you guys, I'm not talking about like the content is crap. I'm talking about like everything is up for grabs. I mean, you can literally see murders on X right now. You can literally go on X and see people getting shot. That, like, remember when you had to go into like deep websites to find those kind of things if you were looking for them? These days, all you got to do is just go on X. It's on X. I don't know if you remember, but everybody was looking for that information or that footage of the Russian. I think it was he was a Russian captain or something that that Ukraine had blew up outside of his apartment or something like that. I found that on X. I was able to find that on X just fine. It popped right up. So is Facebook going to be like X? I doubt it. But some of those things that you wouldn't necessarily see, and you're probably going to see them now. Some of those things that, those parents don't want their kids to see, you're probably going to see that now. Like I said, do I think it's going to be X? Not even close. We still talking about Mark Zuckerberg here. But I think the gates of restriction and bias is leaning a little more to a compromising leftist ground. I won't say middle, but it's leading to a more compromising leftist ground. So this will be interesting when Trump gets in the office, how Facebook is going to change. We got Dana White in the mix. Mark Zuckerberg wants to, get on Trump's good side. And then we're going to see. This is going to be interesting. And not to mention, we also got the government going really hard on TikTok. TikTok might be gone in the next week here, because the owners of TikTok have not sold I guess it would be the rights or the company itself to a American based owner. And because they have not done that, the government is saying, look, we're just going to stop allowing updates for the TikTok app to be accepted. So what that means for all of us normal people who go on the TikTok, those people who make money on TikTok, is if this week comes and goes and the government says we're not going to have any more TikTok, it's not like your TikTok page and TikTok application is going to get wiped off your phone. That's not what's going to happen. But what is going to happen is after a month or 2 months, you're going to need an update on your phone for TikTok. And you're not going to be able to get it. So you may lose a service, you may lose a feature, you lose quality in your freaking camera when you're doing posting or whatever the case it may be, because you're not in 1080p or whatever. You may lose some of those features. And then 4 or 5 months down the line, you lose more features. And then inevitably, there's so many updates that haven't been applied to your phone, you just won't be able to use it at all. That's ultimately how it's going to go. And then what else is going to happen with TikTok, what you're going to experience, for those people that think that they're going to use TikTok and it's going to be a situation where you can get a VPN and it's going to be just fine and dandy, it's going to be the same TikTok that you had before here in America. And
boom goes the dynamite.
that is not happening. Let me tell you why it's not happening, you guys. Okay. And here's another reason why I think that the government is actually doing this. I think TikTok in some ways is doing a psyop on the American people. And here's why I think this. Because China has, the company that owns TikTok is from China. They have TikTok in China. But TikTok is not the TikTok that we have in America. That's in China, you guys. TikTok is really educational in China. You don't have all that ratchetness. You don't have all this arguing back and forth, these political agendas, this and that, woman stuff, all this other stuff. You don't have that shit. That's not accepted on TikTok over in China. So when you get your VPN and you decide that you still want to get the updates, if you're able to do that somehow, because I know there are people out there who do this, you're going to get the China version. You're going to get the China version. And it'll ultimately die out. Just like other things have died off. You know, look, everybody used to go to Twitter. Now they don't go to Twitter. Before that, what was it? Facebook? You know, these things happen. One goes, another one takes its place. That's really what it is. You know what? I don't think we need to keep going into this. I will leave the link at the description for this one once I'm done with this video here. So you guys can go ahead and check this out if you want to. I really appreciate you guys for watching the video all the way through. But if you can do me a little itty bitty favor and hit that subscribe button, it would really help if you hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. So thank you in advance. Appreciate it.